Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Wow, September is shaping up to be a very interesting month for games indeed. We've got the early access beta coming out for Greedfall 2. Rogue Trader is going to receive some new DLC, and Larian Studios will be releasing patch 7 for Baldur's Gate 3. It's going to come with many interesting updates, including one that directly addresses one of my biggest complaints with the game. So I'm really looking forward to it and will be monitoring its progress closely. Now, yesterday, Larian provided a new update regarding some of the content that will be available in this patch. And so I'm going to take the opportunity to go over it with all of you. Here at Slandered Gaming, we focus on CRPGs. So if that kind of content interests you, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. You can also catch my live streams on both YouTube and Twitch. The first change listed by Larian is dynamic split screen mode, which basically means if you're doing couch co-op, instead of having to have split screen the entire time, if your two characters are in the same vicinity, your two screens will mesh together into one, which looks super cool. Definitely some co-op games I can think of where it would have been nice to have this feature. I haven't done couch co-op with Baldur's Gate 3 at all, but honestly, this change might motivate me to tell my wife, you know what, you need to experience this game as well. Great stuff for sure. Now, they also mentioned there's going to be some updates to Honor Mode. I have not played through the game yet in Honor Mode. I still want to do a co-op live stream with the community where they can basically jump in and out of my Honor Mode game whenever they like. And it seems like waiting was the right choice because they're going to make it even more difficult. So there's a whole host of enemies, including everybody's favorite neighborhood surgeon, who will all get legendary actions. From what I've heard, again, I haven't played it, but from what I've heard, there were some complaints about Honor Mode in that while there are a few difficulty spikes, for the most part, it's a lot like playing the game on Tactician. And I did beat Baldur's Gate 3 on Tactician, so I know people who are looking for a really hard mode would probably be a little bit disappointed by that. Hopefully, between adding some new legendary actions and some other changes, Larian is able to address some of those concerns. Now, probably the biggest change that I'm actually looking forward to is evil endings. Larian has committed to providing new cinematics that will make the evil endings much more impactful. You all already know if you've been following my content. While I absolutely have a great appreciation for Baldur's Gate 3, I was very disappointed by the Evil Run experience. I think playing as a good aligned character is way better than what you experience in an Evil Run. Obviously, just changing the endings isn't going to address all of the issues, but it is a step in the right direction and I appreciate it. Larian did provide a couple of different clips to show some of the ways they're changing the endings. One of them is very spoilery, so I'm going to leave it out of this video, but of course the patch notes will be in the description so you can check it out for yourself. The other one I've already showcased here with the Dark Urge laying in the middle of a bunch of bodies. I don't know what's going on, but looks fantastic, and Larian did confirm these additional cinematics will not just be for Dark Urge playthrough. So regardless of whether or not you're doing one of the other origin characters, Dark Urge, or a fully custom character, you will be able to experience new cinematics at the end of the game after doing an Evil Run. Really looking forward to what they come up with. Fantastic stuff. This patch will also contain bug fixes across all of the different origins, Dark Urge included. A lot of them are focused on romance or kissing scenes, so improving the quality of kissing scenes, making sure that they can trigger properly, and ensuring that your romantic scenes will trigger the way that you would expect them to. There's also a lot of general bug fixes as far as dealing with camera pops, VFX, missing inspirations, things of that nature. They did mention that for those doing a Dark Urge run, there's the possibility that a very popular Bard character can temporarily become a party member, which I know many people in the community were asking for. So it's really cool that they've added at least some of that functionality. It'll be interesting to see if there's a way to make her a permanent part of the party. One other origin specific change that they're going to implement that I actually appreciate is regarding Gale and donating items to him. Now when the menu opens to give him an item, it won't just be those that are in your inventory. It will also include those that are equipped to you and those that are in your chest. So as long as you have looted an item that could potentially be given to him, you'll be able to access it when he asks you about it. Very, very nice. Definitely a welcome change. Since we're on the subject of party members, they also mentioned that party banter is going to get an improvement as well. Now, previously, if you were in multiplayer, a lot of times the banter for a party member that was being controlled by someone other than you would not trigger. But now that should no longer be the case. And even if you're in a multiplayer party, all of the banter should trigger properly, which absolutely, again, is a very, very welcome change. All right, now that all of that is out of the way, let's get to the part of this patch that I think the majority of people are really looking forward to, and that is modding. Patch number 7 is going to come with a modding toolkit that should make it significantly easier for modders to create content for the game. Now, for those who haven't been paying attention to the updates, the advantage of this is it's going to be much, much easier for modders to create content that doesn't break your game when you install it, and that you could be relatively sure works with the other mods that are already in the game. So just all the way around, it's going to create a much better ecosystem for extra content to be created for Baldur's Gate 3. And Larian did list out some of the categories that this content is going to cover. So they're definitely looking at items, equipment like weapons and armors and consumables, cosmetics like different hair, beards, and textures, more classes and subclasses, which I know many of you are really excited about, and races, which I believe you all are equally excited about. Including these races might be individual powers and abilities. So I'm wondering if Aasimar is going to be one of the options added. More dice skins, which honestly is something that I'm really looking forward to. I got tired of seeing the same dice over and over. In fact, one of the reasons that I decided I really want to go ahead and do honor mode is to get that new dice skin in my UI. Speaking of UI, there will be extensions and restyling of the game UI and some of these mods. And then finally, of course, there will be just straight up quality of life improvements to make it easier and more fun to play the game. So my plan is, even though it's going to be my first honor mode run, I'm going to make it one that's very, very heavily modded. I'm going to try to take as many of the cool mods as possible to see whether or not this toolkit has worked out properly. Now, this update also included some commentary from a few modders who were chosen to be involved with patch 7 early so that they could help Larian ensure that the toolkit would be working properly and would be of service to the community. And some of the comments that they've made, I think, are very, very exciting, and I can't wait for the community to get their hands on this toolkit. So, for example, Padme 4000 mentioned that they really love making CC colors in the toolkit. As a visual person, being able to visually see my changes in the toolkit by utilizing the character visuals and switching the preset to view mine, it's beyond words. And you can see in the screenshot that I provided an example of what they would have to deal with before this toolkit was made available and what they're dealing with now. So anything that requires them to be visual is going to be so much easier to do with this toolkit, allowing them to see right up front how their code is actually working out. And TechRoot says something along the same line, saying that the toolkit allows them to select exactly the color they want, where they want it, and see how another 1,000 colors they hadn't even thought of do look. So they're no longer writing code, now they're painting. Very, very cool stuff. And it should just make it so much easier for these mods to be creative, think outside the box, and give us some really, really interesting content to work with. Now, if you're concerned that there's no possibility you'll be able to see this content before September, don't worry, that's actually not the case. There is going to be a closed beta that you can sign up for, and registration for it is now open. So you can sign up and participate in the closed beta, which will go live on July 22nd. I believe they're going to randomly choose who's going to be allowed to participate in the beta. I'm not registering for it. I've played enough betas. I stay away from it when I can, so I'll wait until the content comes out. But for those of you who wanted to be able to jump in, by all means, go ahead and register and see if Larian will pull your name out of the hat. In an interesting bit of news, Larian also announced that they have released new merchandise. So there's a link to the merch store in the update, and they have the soundtrack on cassette. I don't know who asked for that, but I think it's absolutely hilarious. I'm an old man and I still don't have anything that plays a cassette. So I think it's really, really cool and interesting that they provided that. Apparently it also has a new song, Down by the Synthwave. I haven't heard that at all, so it'll be interesting to find out if that track holds up to the rest of the soundtrack. There's also a couple of new shirts, and one of them looks really nice, the long rest option. So definitely check out that merch if you're looking to buy a new t-shirt. Speaking of which, here at Slander Gaming, we'll actually be opening up a merch store in August. I'll probably be releasing some photos of that soon, so be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited about it. Looking forward to getting feedback on what are some of the different things we should probably add. And then finally, Larian wants it to be clear that this is actually not the last major update that Baldur's Gate 3 will receive. They plan to add crossplay and a photo mode, and they're working on a host of other enhancements and gameplay tweaks and quality of life improvements, along with performance optimization. So we haven't heard the last of Larian Studios in regards to Baldur's Gate 3. Definitely looking forward to this patch, and definitely looking forward to what they decide to do next. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts. Is this patch enough? Are you planning to dive back into Baldur's Gate 3 when it's released in September? What kind of content are you hoping to get out of the mods that the game is going to provide? Do you want new classes? Are you hoping for completely new quests, new environments? Really interested in what you all are going to be pushing for and what the mods are going to be able to come up with. I think this game is going to be a lot of fun to play for years to come. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. Take care.